I'm divorcing you, a fat, lazy woman who doesn't do housework. Raise the kid yourself. My husband betrayed me and said he would remarry my sister. Since I became pregnant, I had a feeling that something was wrong. But I never imagined that he would go after my blood-related sister. It's like a story out of a drama, but this is undeniably reality. Okay, I get it. It's enough. Here's the divorce papers. Seeing my husband happily writing the divorce papers. But now, my counterattack begins. My name is Elena, I'm 32 years old. I've been married to Sean for 3 years now. We wanted children but couldn't get pregnant. And just as we were considering fertility treatments, I got pregnant with our first child. We did it, Elena. We're finally going to be parents. When we confirmed the positive pregnancy test, my husband was teary-eyed with joy. Really? I'm so happy. But we have to go to an OB/GYN tomorrow. Still, I have a feeling everything will be fine, just my hunch though. The next day, I nervously went to the OB/GYN, and the doctor confirmed with an ultrasound. Congratulations! You are pregnant. I could see for myself that I was indeed pregnant. I was so happy that I emailed my husband from the hospital waiting room. I'm pregnant. Just entered the 5th week. We'll have to tell our families once I'm in my 2nd trimester. The email was read immediately, and he replied. Really? That's great. Thank you. Elena, be careful on your way home. He usually never replies, but he must have been really looking forward to it. Savoring this small happiness. I bought beer for my husband and a cake for me to celebrate and headed home. We talked about wanting to have our first child by 30, but it doesn't matter anymore. Sean, do you prefer a boy or a girl? I'm not sure, maybe a girl would be easier to raise first. Tough choice. I'd be okay with a girl, but it'll be sad when she gets married. So, a boy might be better for playing around while he's young. We had such light-hearted conversations over dinner. We finished talking about overcoming various things together as a couple. And then the doorbell rang. Who could it be at this hour? It was past 9 p.m., and visitors at this time were unthinkable. When I opened the door, there stood my sister, Ashley. Ashley, what's up? At this hour? Well, I ran away from home because Dad got mad at me. He said stop going out at night. I was just working hard at my part-time job, isn't that harsh? My sister Ashley, a 20-year-old university student, was always spoiled by our parents. She grew up to be a flippant and slightly clueless girl. Even if she had a part-time job, it's unlikely she would come home that late. As my father pointed out, she probably just hung out too much. So, can I stay here for a while? That's okay, right, Sean? I'll go to university every day and won't be a bother to you too. Well, I don't mind, but are you okay with it, Elena? But, I think we should let your parents know. They'd worry if Ashley stays here without informing them. Though I was hesitant because I had just found out about my pregnancy. I allowed Ashley to stay for a few days. Looking back, maybe that was a mistake. The next day, after Sean went to work and Ashley to university, I called our parents. So, Ashley is staying with us for a bit. She said she'll go back home in a few days. I've made sure she'll continue to go to university, so don't worry. I reassured my mother, and she seemed completely relieved. She never listens to us no matter what we say. We were really worried. Sorry for the trouble, but please take care of her for a while. Ashley, who never listened to parents and did whatever she wanted. My parents were quite troubled and didn't know who to turn to. Despite my own health, I couldn't just ignore my sister, so I decided to endure it for the time being. But then, 3 days, 4 days. Even after a week. Ashley showed no signs of returning home and started living in our house as if it were her own. Initially, she did her laundry, but after a week, she left everything to me. Hey, sis, I'm sorry, but could you iron this shirt for me? Also, I'll be home late from my part-time job tomorrow, so please prepare dinner for me. She was treating me like a maid and laughing about it. What? Why? I told you to take care of your own stuff. My words seemed to go in one ear and out the other. Worse, Ashley and Sean bonded over their shared love for a certain cartoon and started having daily conversations about it. Sis, I really get along with Sean. This must be fate. Yeah, Ashley and I have exactly the same taste in manga. It was nice that they got along, but Sean seemed to forget that I was pregnant with his behavior. Elena. I'm in a good mood today, so let's have some beer. Bring some for Ashley too. And some light snacks would be great. Can't you do that yourself? I have a lot to do too. When I protested, Ashley angrily said, Sis, that attitude towards Sean is not right. He's supporting us, isn't he? It's terrible to treat your husband who works hard to earn money like that. Elena thought, what? Supported by him? Who? I suppressed my desire to argue back and served beer and some snacks. See, you can do it. Ashley said with a full smile, but honestly, I wish she would leave right now. Of course, they left the table messy without cleaning up. I silently cleaned up after them, which had become a daily routine. Days full of stress. That night, after Ashley went to sleep, I spoke to Sean. Hey, you do realize that I'm pregnant, right? This lifestyle is not normal. Isn't it normal to ask Ashley to take care of her own things? Yeah. But honestly, Ashley is still just a child. So, I thought it would be useless to tell her anything. Sorry about that. He apologized, but it was clear that he didn't mean it. The next day and the day after, he continued to ignore me and had fun with Ashley. I was so upset that I finally spoke to Ashley. Hey, I didn't say it earlier, but I'm pregnant. There's a baby in my belly. So, it's fine for you to stay, but I need some help around the house. What? Sis, you're pregnant? Seriously? I thought you were just gaining weight recently, but you were actually pregnant. Got it. I'll try to help out with Shawnee as much as I can. Did she just say a Shawnee? Yes, they had become close over the days and started calling each other by their first names. Shawnee and Ash. Moreover, they used to sit across from each other at meals. But recently they started sitting side by side, laughing and touching. Just looking at them almost made me nauseous. I felt I had to intervene, so I called our parents. I'm sorry, but I need you to come and pick up Ashley. I didn't tell you, but I'm pregnant. I can't take care of Ashley anymore, please help. I told them everything about Ashley's recent behavior. How she doesn't do any housework and acts arrogantly. And how she and Sean drink and make noise every night. My parents were dismayed to hear this. What is she doing? She should have come back home as soon as she knew about Elena's pregnancy. Such a useless kid. That's probably why she failed her year. What? Failed her year? Ashley had been leaving the house every morning saying she was going to university. But apparently, she hadn't been attending. With so many shocking revelations, it took me a long time to process everything. Eventually, with my parents' help, we convinced Ashley to return home. But then, Sean's behavior became noticeably odd. He constantly carried his phone, texting someone, and started staying out late under the guise of work drinks, which he rarely did before. He showed no interest in my growing belly or our child. Hey, Sean. Today was my 7-month checkup, and we found out the baby's gender. What do you think it is? You said you wanted a boy, right?
Ah.
About that, I honestly don't care right now, maybe it doesn't matter. I'm just too busy with work, you know. Oh, I see. No interest. I thought at this point that our relationship might not work anymore. I said, I see, you're busy, but not caring about your own child seemed terrible to me. And him clutching his phone every day was likely him communicating with Ashley. He had that same smug look when he was with her, oblivious to everything else. It's not surprising, really. No man would probably feel bad being approached by a woman 12 years younger. In the end, for Sean, a young woman seemed more important than his wife, who had supported the family. Still, I needed to gather evidence of his infidelity. If my husband really had an affair with my sister, it would destroy not just our marriage but our entire family. With our child's birth approaching, I decided to take action and immediately hired a detective agency. Though I was told it could take at least a month for the investigation results, it only took a week to gather all the evidence. As suspected, Sean was meeting Ashley daily, and she wasn't even attending university. I informed my parents of these facts and told them I was divorcing Sean. They agreed with me and promised to cut ties with Ashley as well. However, I soon realized that I wasn't the only one thinking about divorce. One day, when Sean returned from work, he said to me, "I'm planning to marry Ashley, so I want a divorce. I mean, I want to divorce a fat, lazy woman who doesn't do any housework. You raise the kid by yourself." What? Fat and lazy, not doing housework. My husband, betraying me to remarry my sister, was one thing. But his comment about housework struck a nerve. When I listened to his story carefully, I found it to be a ridiculous fiction. If I divorce you because I'm marrying Ashley, it will only be my fault. So, if I say you're not doing housework, it might reduce the compensation. What? Are you stupid? Since I became pregnant, I had a feeling that something was wrong. But I never imagined that he would go after my blood-related sister. Furthermore, he fabricated faults in me to reduce compensation. It's like a story out of a drama, but this is undeniably reality. Okay, I get it. It's enough. Here's the divorce papers. Just remember, you'll be the one regretting this in the end. I just wanted to tell you that. But Sean, with a happy face, started writing on the divorce papers. Huh? Me, regret? Divorcing you? No way. Ashley is way better than you. I took the divorce papers. Then Sean packed his bags and left the house in high spirits. I'll be renting a cheap apartment with Ashley. Don't bother us, okay? Sure. I have no intention to. But you'll be receiving some documents from my lawyer. Sean, not listening to a word I said, left my presence. Just as I was about to meet our first child, that deluded man walked into a hellish future of his own making. Now, it's time for my counterattack. A month passed, and while I was at my parents' house for childbirth, my phone was flooded with calls. Panic calls from my ex-husband. Elena? What's this all about? I understand compensation and child support. But there are tons of photos of Ashley entering a hotel with another man. And I've always had you manage my salary, but now I realize I can't live like this. Indeed, he was a fool, or rather a great fool. Wait, did you really think Ashley would seriously fall for an old guy like you? She's a man-eater and a habitual offender, still repaying compensation for her affairs with married men. What's that all about? You see, the reason I had a lawyer send a formal notice wasn't just because I wanted compensation and child support. I wanted to teach Sean a lesson about how wicked Ashley really is, and remind him who was responsible for the luxurious lifestyle he had been enjoying. You might want to cover Ashley's debts, but with your salary, that's impossible. After all, you only bring home $1,200 a month. Well, since I earn $600,000 a year, I could give you your salary as pocket money. But living on that amount alone will be tough for you. What? $600,000 a year. I didn't even know that. My ex-husband's voice already sounded like he was about to cry. Now he probably realizes too late that divorcing me was a mistake. Was I tricked by Ashley? I already promised to marry her. And I even bought her an expensive ring. Well, that ring might already be pawned off. Too bad for you. Anyway, I'll make sure you pay the compensation and child support, I sternly told my trembling ex-husband. My ex-husband kept apologizing, begging for another chance. Can't you give me just one more chance? I'll work hard for our child who's about to be born, I promise to change. Of course, I'll do it for you too, Elena. Please. Despite his pleas, his words didn't touch my heart at all. I could easily imagine that after our relationship ended, he would face a dramatic situation with Ashley. I heard his sobbing voice over the phone. And soon after, Ashley's angry voice as she returned home. What is this? Who did this? Sneaking around like this is the worst. Ashley, despite being at fault, was defiant and had the audacity to lash out. I felt an undeniable need to punish her for her actions. But my ears hurt from her yelling after she snatched Sean's phone. Elena. What have you done? Can't you stand to see someone else happy? You're so twisted. What? What are you talking about? Are you stupid too? Ashley seemed a bit taken aback by my calm response. You're not really going to sue your own sister for damages, are you? I'm a student with debts, I can't pay. My sister's voice gradually trembled. And I struggled to hold back my laughter at the 180-degree difference from her previous pompous attitude. I don't care how much debt you have. That's your problem. After all, you're the one who wrecked a family. Plus, I heard you failed a year at university and were disowned by our parents. Now you'll have to drop out and start working to pay off your debts. What's with that cold attitude? Aren't you my sister? How can you attack your sister without feeling bad? You're the worst. I couldn't care less about what she thought. After all, she's caused trouble with men and racked up a lot of debt. Even going after other men and even my ex-husband. I'm not generous enough to forgive such a sister. In fact, I'd rather cut ties with her. I have no intention of helping my sister, Ashley, who barely works and keeps getting into trouble and accumulating debts. I've always thought this. You're a woman who will never find happiness. Always taking what belongs to others and smiling about it. Seriously, that kind of attitude won't get you far as an adult. You don't have to say that much. It's not necessary. Ashley finally broke down crying. On the other side of the phone, Sean and Ashley were about to enter a battlefield of their own making. Even though Sean, a little more mature, suggested, "Why don't we talk it out, all three of us?" After all, we were a married couple, and Elena and Ashley are sisters. I think if we talk calmly, we can understand each other. Of course, I ignored it. Does Sean think he said something noble? I would never entertain such a ridiculous idea. Sorry, but I'm not free enough to play along with your drama. Besides, I have a childbirth to prepare for. Just remember, Ashley, to pay the compensation, and Sean, don't forget the compensation and child support. With that, I hung up the phone. Wait, Elena. Please listen to me one more time. But honestly, I no longer wanted to hear Sean's pitiful voice. Later, the compensation of $30,000 from Sean was immediately transferred in full. and he agreed to pay child support every month on the 10th. It seems he begged his parents for the $30,000. They weren't informed about the divorce and later apologized to me, even giving me an additional $20,000 as a nuisance fee. Of course, they were against Sean's remarriage to Ashley and said they were cutting ties with their child. In the end, both Sean and Ashley were completely abandoned by their family. Serves them right. Ashley doesn't have the savings to pay the compensation right away, and I'm determined not to compromise on making her pay what she owes to the bitter end. I also plan to make sure Sean continues to pay child support. Oh, and about what happened later. The two of them apparently broke up soon after, but, having no money and nowhere to turn, are still living together like an old married couple without talking to each other. It's only a matter of time before they separate. A few months later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She's so adorable, she brings tears to my eyes. I'm looking forward to a peaceful life with my daughter.